A royal expert has claimed, the royal family decided to delay registering Princess Margaret's birth in order to avoid her being listed as number 13 in the parish register. The Queen's younger sister was born during a stormy evening at Glamis Castle in Scotland, the ancestral home of her mother, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. She was the first royal to be born in Scotland since the birth of King Charles I in 1600. Princess Margaret's birth registration was reportedly delayed for several days in order to avoid the newborn being listed as number 13 in the local parish register. Speaking on the podcast Royally Obsessed, royal expert Roberta Fiorita said, on August 21, 1930, Princess Margaret Rose Windsor was born at Glamis Castle, the first royal in 300 years to be born in Scotland, which feels like a really big deal. Glamis was actually her mother, the Duchess of York, who was later Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother's ancestral home, so that was really nice that she got to be at the place where she grew up at the birth of her second daughter. I thought that was funny. It's very superstitious. The registration of her birth was delayed for several days to avoid her being numbered 13 in the parish register. At the time of her birth, Princess Margaret was fourth in the line of succession to the British throne, behind her older sister Princess Elizabeth. Her father was the Duke of York, the second eldest son of King George V and Queen Mary of Teck. Per royal protocol, members of the royal family must share their choice of name for any royal children with the monarch before announcing it to the public. In a letter written to Queen Mary, her mother, the Duchess of York, wrote, "I am very anxious to call her and Margaret, as I think Anne of York sounds pretty, and Elizabeth and Anne go so well together." However, King George V preferred the name Margaret Rose and stated his dislike of the name. Following the death of King George V in January 1936, the heir to the throne, Prince Edward, requested that he be able to marry his long-term mistress Wallis Simpson. As a two-time American divorcee, the marriage was deemed unsuitable and would have jeopardized his position as head of the Church of England. At the time, the Church refused to recognize the remarriage of divorced persons if their former spouse was still alive. Whilst it was not expected for the Duke of York to succeed his father to the throne, the abdication crisis of 1936 meant that the reluctant Duke was forced to step in and become king. After a difficult 10 months on the throne, King Edward VIII announced on December 11, 1936, that he would be abdicating in favour of his younger brother in order to marry Wallis Simpson. This resulted in Princess Elizabeth becoming heir apparent, and Princess Margaret becoming the daughter of the sovereign. The family relocated to Buckingham Palace, where Princess Margaret was homeschooled and helped raise the nation's spirits during the Second World War through performing musicals and making radio speeches with her older sister. She was affectionately known as Margot within her family, and her father King George V described his daughter as Elizabeth as my pride and Margaret as my joy. As a senior member of the royal family, Princess Margaret devoted her life to public service and assisting her sister, who became the Queen in 1952. In 1960, she married Anthony Armstrong Jones, and together they welcomed 2 children, Sarah and David. However, their marriage was plagued by infidelities and they subsequently divorced in 1978. Her later life was marred by illness, after several decades of heavy smoking took its toll on her health. She died on February 9, 2002 at the age of 71, after suffering a stroke that caused cardiac problems. Her funeral took place at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, and unlike other members of the royal family, she was cremated at Slough Crematorium.